Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning alongside Shiza Hashmi and Shahzad Khan. Ladies and gentlemen, today the date is 5th of February and the year is 2020. But ladies and gentlemen, every now and then, every morning when we are in front of you or probably in front of our television cameras, we make sure that we talk about problems and issues and to probably all of those issues, talking about all of those issues so that you can actually have a resolve in your life. But ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, it's such a day where we've been observing this day for years and years, and I think that it is very important. But then there are certain people within one vicinity who are not able to find a resolve for themselves.
Yeah,
and even the entire world is not able to find a resolve for themselves as well. Where they are being tortured, where they are being raped, where they do not have any communication with the outer world. Ladies and gentlemen, 5th February is actually the day where we stand in solidarity with Kashmir, but it's not just only 5th of February. Throughout the day, throughout 365 days in a year, I think that all of those Pakistanis, wherever they may probably be, we do stand in solidarity. And this one day in particular is actually a reminder for all of us that we really need to do something, that we really need to find a solution for all of those Kashmiri brethren who are in problem and who are actually succumbing to pressure.
Absolutely. And Shahzad, I think you very rightly said where just the 5th of February is not only when we stand in solidarity with Kashmir, it's throughout the year, it's throughout the decade. Ever since Pakistan was separated, I think ever since then we are standing in solidarity with Kashmir. I think politically we were, in spirit we were, but in 91 onwards, in letter officially, we do stand in solidarity. Yep. We observe a national holiday as well. And Shahzad, if you know that every other Friday in our show, we say as well that ever since the 5th of August last year, officially every Friday, the Pakistani nation is standing in solidarity with Kashmir. Literally though, whatever we're doing, we halt doing that. Yep. We come together and observe silence and pray for Kashmiris because, you know, as generic as it may sound, because I'm pretty sure all of you have been bombarded with all sorts of news about how this lockdown is going on in Kashmir for so many days now, almost 6 months now.
Yes.
Imagine that.
184
but
days.
You have to realize it. You have to really realize the real meaning of it. Lockdown, ladies and gentlemen, there is no communications, facilities possible right there. For a little period in between, to be honest, Shahzad, I did read news and I did hear that people were, at least able to speak to their loved ones through telephones and whatnot, but internet, still not there. And a few weeks later, even after, the landlines and telephones still, again, were halted. So I cannot, to be honest, imagine myself living in such a scenario or such a condition. And of course, and speaking about our Kashmiri brethren, Shahzad, when we share such an ancestry and actually the religion as well, the culture as well, everything, we have never thought of them as separate than Pakistani Muslims, right?
Exactly.
We cannot even just look at the view of what is happening to them.
Exactly. And, continuing with that, ladies and gentlemen, you can see these footages on your television screens as well, where we can truly see that the Indian forces have always made sure that they're going to be barbaric with that particular region. And I think that, since it's the, I'm sorry that I'll have to say this as well, but I think that it's 100% true as well, that Modi, one way or the other, has taken inspiration from Hitler. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not just those political figures who are actually kind of creating this entire scene within that region, but I think then at the same time, for all of those people within India as well, are, because whenever we talk about people from India, even people within India are against it. I mean, people within India are protesting. People all over the world are protesting. Recep Tayyip Erdogan, there's so many other people. And not just that, even talking about our Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, he made a very fabulous speech at the United Nations as well. But then at the same time, where do we stand? We stand at ground zero, ladies and gentlemen, and that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it is indeed very unfortunate. And Shahzad, when we're talking about the human aspect of this entire situation that is going on for more than 7 decades now in this specific region, let's just look at the figures from 91 onwards, because that is what we're discussing today. And just do realize that we are sort of not taking accountable the years prior to 91, which were actually full of, atrocities as well.
Exactly.
So just 91 onwards till 2019, last year, the fresh reports say that altogether, the Muslim Kashmiris which were martyred were around 95,471. 22,910 women have been widowed, Shahzad, imagine that. 10,000, in fact 107,780 children have been orphaned. And since you spoke about rape and all sorts of violations going on with women over there, Shahzad, including gang rapes and everything, murders, 11,175 women have been raped over there. And these are just the few stats that I'm sharing with you. It's just really heart-wrenching for us to begin our day with this. But ladies and gentlemen, we have to. Right now, we do have a very informative small report for you to enlighten you and us about the real history of why we stand in solidarity with Kashmir. Let's take a look at it and come back and discuss more on this.
Arrangements are being made across the country to observe Kashmir Solidarity Day on Wednesday to highlight the plight of oppressed Kashmiri people living under brutal Indian occupation and remind the world community of its obligation towards the resolution of the outstanding dispute. Prime Minister Imran Khan has issued special directions to observe the Kashmir Solidarity Day in a befitting manner across the country. Banners and posters highlighting the plight of Kashmiris and portraits of Kashmiri leadership have been erected on all important roads to express solidarity with the oppressed Kashmiri people. Special rallies have been planned to express support to the Kashmir cause and highlight the atrocities India is committing in the occupied valley. This year, the Kashmir Solidarity Day has special importance in the wake of India revoking the special status of occupied Kashmir in total breach of all international laws, and since then has imposed an indefinite curfew and cut off all communication links in the valley. Special programs and walks would be organized at divisional, district and tehsil level in all provinces. All Pakistanis will be there to let the Kashmiris know that they are not alone in their demand for freedom from clutches of the occupier.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, well, it's very heart-wrenching, it's very heartbreaking, and yeah, one way or the other, I think that for all of those people in their life, when they realize that there's this atrocity taking place, it's happening with people like us, I think that everybody feels the pain as well. But I think, Shiza, while you were mentioning all of these figures as well, ladies and gentlemen, whenever we talk about stats and figures, obviously one way or the other, you know, there's definitely a margin of correction too as well.
Of course,
but imagine, think about all of those people who were blinded by the pellet guns as well. Imagine about all of those kids who cannot go to schools. Just one small scenario which I'm going to share with you guys. One of my friend who actually happened to be from the Indian occupied Kashmir, he went abroad to study, and he was on a 4-year or a 5-year visa. And his father called him, and since I was talking to him, that's why I know what's actually happening.
Okay.
So his father called him when the lockdown took place as well, and his father was like that, I've sent you enough money for the next 5 years, and all you need to do is to study hard, make a life for yourself and settle down over there. There's no point of coming back. Imagine the very thought of a father where he's saying that he's not going to see his son for the next 5 years or probably the rest of his life, how painful it might be for them.
Of course, it's so painful, Shahzad, and to witness it in real life. I think for us to just say and use words for this, I think it's very different than for the people who are actually feeling that and having that in their life as well. But ladies and gentlemen, today's discussion is actually going to not only surround the right that Kashmiris hold, the inalienable right to self-determination, yes, that as well, but not limited to that. Right. We are going to talk about how our very hostile and hegemonic neighbor has actually stripped hundreds of thousands of people of their citizenship right.
Exactly.
And, you know, taken away their entire right of even the people who were residing in their vicinity for more than 70 years now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk about the draconian laws that the country has, of course, produced and implemented as well in the valley, and a lot more. And for this purpose, I feel like, Shahzad, we have a very perfect and apt panel of guests.
Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. So the panel obviously comprises from the youngest to the eldest too as well, people who've actually been in Indian occupied Kashmir and now are over here in Islamabad today with us. And ladies and gentlemen, these are the people who are actually going to slit their heart opens today, yes, because all of what they have had in their hearts, I don't think that everybody has heard all of that as well. And very quickly, before I introduce my guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be in the shoes of those parents whose children were murdered or raped. Imagine, think about all of those kids whose parents are not around anymore and they're still under a lockdown.
Yeah.
That's quite a problem, and I think that the world really needs to put an end to this barbaric act by our neighbor as well. And let's get started with the conversation. Let's get under control, and there's nothing impossible, and we're going to do it. We are in solidarity with Kashmir. We will continue to stand in solidarity with Kashmir no matter what happens. Kashmir banega Pakistan. There's no other way to that as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, with us We have APHC leader, Mr. Altaf Hussain Wani Saab with us. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, alhamdulillah.
Thank you very much for joining us, sir. It's wonderful to have you alongside Mr. Altaf Hussain Wani. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the youngest social activist over here in Pakistan. She's
So
none other
inspirational.
than Miss Laiba Khan. Hello, Laiba. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Absolutely
good.
perfect. And
Walaikum
Laiba,
salam.
we are very glad that you took our time and you came to our show. We are very honored as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Alongside Ms. Laiba, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually been joined by somebody who can actually tell us about the inalienable fundamental right as well, where we talk about self-determination, and I think that she'll actually be able to highlight that this is the kind of law which needs to be there, and how the very fundamental rights are being provoked by the Indian government as well.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's none other than Ms. Huma Jameel Babar. She's a lawyer herself. Hello, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum salam, alhamdulillah. What about you?
Absolutely perfect. Thank you very much for joining us. And last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, we've actually been joined by lobbyist for Youth Forum for Kashmir. He's none other than Mr. Zaman Bajwa. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Walaikum salam. How are you, sir?
Absolutely perfect, sir.
Thanks a lot for you and the management of PTV for inviting on this special show.
Thank you very much, and we'll continue to do
pleasure.
so as well. We want people to know what's actually happening. So, Altaf Saab, we'll start with you. I have mentioned it in the very beginning of the show that it's not just the 5th of February. You know, from the last 6 months or so, because it's the 184th day today since the lockdown has taken place.
Yes.
Every Friday, people get together. They make human chains. We stand in solidarity. But where are we heading? Are we heading in the right direction or not? And I think that we really need to talk about the current scenario and how we can get all of those people out of those atrocities. For once-
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to extend my gratitude to the people of Pakistan for expressing their solidarity with the people of Kashmir, not only this day, but throughout the year and for so many decades. It's because of the support of people of Pakistan, people of Kashmir are continuing their struggle against so oppressive regime of India. It's not easy to fight against 900,000 strong army in each and every nook and corner of the state.
Yeah.
So people are resisting against it, and it is this day provides a moral support to the people of Indian occupied Kashmir. Though they are caged, but they are determined to achieve their goal. Coming to the present day situation in Kashmir, as you mentioned, it's now the 6th month of lockdown in Kashmir, total communication blockade, and this has affected each and every section of our social life, our daily life, be it education, be it healthcare, be it our economy, be it any other thing. It has impacted on that. So for 4 months, schools were totally closed, though these days we have a winter vacations over there.
Right.
But for 4 months, you have the schools totally locked out. Nobody could go to schools, and people were not willing to send their children to school because of fear of security, because there was so much of security forces in the schools, in the colleges and universities. And along with that, our economy, it was reported on the first 2 months,
Yeah.
our economy suffered to $2 billion that loss which our economy suffered
Because
for
business
because the
establishments were
people
closed.
the people could not send their fruit out. Our economy, the fruit is fruit industry is
Right.
our one of the prime industries. So is walnut industry. So we could not send these products outside. And along with that, when India created such a fear, they asked the tourists to leave the Kashmir. They asked everyone to leave the Kashmir. So there was total loss to the tourist industry. So the hoteliers, the other houseboat owners and other people could not pay for their families. And along with this internet blockade, it has its impact on healthcare, education, all that, but it has impacted the job sector. Our people who are in the IT jobs and online selling or other things, so nearly 100,000 people lost their jobs because of this.
That's
So this is a situation where we are living in Kashmir. But why India did it? Although the actions which India took on August 5th, they are unconstitutional, they are against the UN Security Council resolution on Kashmir, they are against the bilateral agreement between India and Pakistan, even the bilateral agreement between the people of Kashmir and the government of India. So that is ultra constitutional. But the Hindu government, the fascist government, as you mentioned in the intro, it is now matching the fascists like Hitler and Mussolini and
Right.
others that. They tried to snatch all the autonomy which already they has done, but more important for Kashmiris was the 35A, which gives the people of Kashmir the right to the citizenship and right to own the property and others,
absolutely.
and to define the state subject laws in Kashmir. They snatched over that, and all of this crackdown, this lockdown and communication blockade was to subjugate the people, to suppress them. All shades of political opinion leaders
Right,
have been
right.
caged, they have been sent to jails, they are in different detention centers. Every mouth is shut,
Yes.
and nobody is allowed to speak. After taking away the freedom of expression, freedom of opinion, and targeting youth from 2010 onwards, especially the college students using pellets,
Yes.
to blind people from 2010 to 2018-19, they continue to do so.
It's
And in
insane.
this current scenario, after the lockdown, the Indian government is managing what one of our friends calls the 3M.
Okay.
So
okay.
they have now, the media is totally suppressed.
Yes, Yeah.
The media is totally suppressed. They have controlled the mosques. They have asked the imams not to speak for the people, not to speak for the rights of the people, not to speak against the abrogation of Article
Right.
370 others. So because of that, you could see lots of the big mosques in Kashmir, they remained closed
Yes.
for over 18 consecutive Friday congregational prayers could not
Right.
be held in those places. Along with that, all mosques and then the Maulvis, the imams, they have been asked that if they will speak against that, they will have to go to the jail. And
Imagine
hundreds
that.
of them are languishing in different jails in India. Our bar association president and other lots of people, and even kids, small kids, which government of India themselves recognize that some 500 of the kids who are children who are below the age of
Minors.
15,
Yeah.
minors,
Yes.
they have been detained, and
Imagine.
most of them under Public Safety Act. So this is the situation there. This all is being done to suppress the people of Kashmir so that they could give up their right, their fight for their right self-determination.
Absolutely.
But as we see, the people have demonstrated heroically, the people of
Absolutely,
Kashmir.
yes.
They started a civil disturbance movement against for a certain period of time, and then they said, we will exist and we will resist.
Resist,
And that
absolutely.
resistance continues in Kashmir.
Exactly, and
course.
that's beautiful, and that's very motivating for all of us too, as well, ladies and gentlemen. But for people who are over there, I know that it's getting difficult day by day. But imagine that minors are detained in jails as well, and we have a minor over here who's actually the youngest social activist over here in Pakistan as well. So Laiba, hello, assalamu alaikum, ek dafa phir se. Bete, what I want to ask you is, first of all, what message do you have for all the people who are out there? And then when you think about small children detained in jails, what do you have to say about that?
For that, I want to have a message for them that don't you be scared. We are beside you. Together we will face everything, and soon, inshallah, Kashmir will be liberated. And so that is my iman, and I'm too sad for my Kashmiri brothers and sisters and for the small children as well.
Wow, and do you have a message for Modi as well?
Yes.
What do you want to say?
Prime Minister Modi, you're not Prime Minister of Hindu nation, you're Prime Minister of India. Let us resolve peace, everything peacefully, not hatred.
Yeah.
Prime Minister Modi, we are your neighbors, you are our neighbors. We love our neighbors, we never want to hurt them, harm them or kill them. But you're doing this with your own neighbors which we don't like. Prime Minister Modi, always remember Pakistan offered you peace, but you choose to oppress innocent Kashmiris. Prove yourself to be a leader. Don't teach your nation violence, but preach them to be peaceful. Prime Minister Modi, always remember, we are this nation. We start with Bismillah and we end with Alhamdulillah. When we say Allah Akbar, we stand together. Don't think you can defeat us. By the power of Iman, we can conquer anything. With Allah's help, we can win hearts together and make peace. Prime Minister Modi, history will remember not who fired the first shot, but who fired the last shot.
Exactly. Thank you very much for saying
That's
that.
so
And
brilliant.
ladies and gentlemen, when children like this are going to speak about all of these issues, I think that there will be people who are going to have a bigger heart. And Prime Minister Modi, I don't think that there's any respect for you in this particular region because of the
course.
barbaric acts India's been doing and I think that it gets so disturbing to a point where I don't think that whether you are yourself able to sleep at night or not. I mean, just think about it once. Even though people know that the kind of person you are, you've done it to Muslims quite way back as well. You continue to do so. You continue to do it in your country as well, and you won't land anywhere.
Yeah.
So whatever you may think of it, well, I don't think that being a leader will actually get you some respect as well because you're not a good one.
Right, and Shazad, where you say that I don't know if he's able to even sleep at night. Actually, it's funny. It's really funny, ironic as well. I was going through an article in the international paper where Modi says and declares his act of 12 December, the CAA, as a noble effort to save all the Hindus of the region. We'll come to that, ladies and gentlemen. But one by one, I want to talk about everything in detail. Now, Huma, moving on to you, and let's talk about the rights that our Kashmiri brethren have. Speaking of the first and foremost right of referendum that was promised more than 70 years ago but never took place.
Yes.
So in 1950s, cannot recall the year exactly,
54.
Nehru, 54 probably, Nehru was interviewed by a paper where he said that no government of India can ever take the step of holding a referendum because they know they're going to lose the part that they now have or they now occupy. So, and right now, to change the demographics of Kashmir, we know that a lot of Hindus are going to resettle over there. So what is happening to referendum?
First of all, I want to say that the promises made by the Indian government, we cannot consider that they will ever, in future, they will fulfill their promises or their bilateral agreements. So what is happening in the Kashmir, or as we saw that they amend the so-called constitution and the article 35A, 370.
Right.
They just want to suppress the movement of freedom in Kashmir, and they are badly failed in it.
Absolutely.
When we talk about the rights and the laws, as he said, the draconian law as we have in Kashmir, so I disagree with it. These are not the laws, these are the trash laws, I will say.
Okay.
Law is a very prestigious thing. It is a very honorary thing.
Exactly.
Law is made for to protect the rights of the others. Law is made for to limitize the obligations, limitize the rights, and to punish the convict.
Exactly.
These are not the laws, I will say. These are just, as you said, the barbaric acts, the cruelties, the brutalities done by the Indian government, and by making these acts as a laws and to protect the sovereignty of the Indian state, so-called Indian state, is just I will say the psyche of Modi is the psyche of I will say Hindu, pure RSS movement.
Absolutely.
So we cannot say that what are they doing. We now I said that now in recent scenario, the international media is also recognizing and also publishing the recent occasions of the Kashmir, the recent freedom movement. They highlighted in their many documentaries we saw, as even the Indian government is not allowing their opposition leaders to to go to the Kashmir and to observe the recent scenario.
Absolutely.
And even in the other side, we talk about the Pakistan. Pakistan invited the diplomats and they
wanted to hold a dialogue.
Yes, they visited the borders and they observed the recent war attack made by the Indian government. So there is a difference. There is a main difference between the Pakistan and India, that Pakistan is continuously going for the peace talks and for the table talks for the Kashmir resolution, to solve the Kashmir issue. But on the other hand, Modi is lingering on the matter on one pretext to another, and if we talk about the rights and laws, they always said that it is against the sovereignty of the Indian government, etc. And we are not expecting to solve the Kashmir issue by the Supreme Court of India, as they are even not putting their eye on the
atrocities that are happening. But thank you so much for saying that, Huma, because I'm going to further your point to Mr. Bajwa now, where you said that Pakistan is literally just vying for peace and in return we're getting nothing. Now, while we're always vying for peace for more than 70 years now, Mr. Bajwa, you know, India has been obsessed, I'm not going to say with the valley, but obsessed with occupation and authoritarianism. And with this obsession, they have spent billions of dollars increasing their military, expenses as well, and all other things. Also, now they have made, because of their obsession with this, they have made Kashmir, the beautiful Kashmir, a hotbed for chaos and destruction. Imagine two nuclear powers just fighting over one piece. So, of course, first of all, I want you to hold up a comparison of how we are approaching this situation as well, and what are we going to get out of this obsession?
First of all, you mentioned very well that India is investing $1 million
Yes.
to just lobby and to just to put
Creating hysteria.
put their hands on strict, and there's a lot of laws which are introduced in Kashmir to just suppress the people of Kashmir.
Absolutely.
But the positive thing is that from all these 70 years, Pakistan talking about peace, and Pakistan is talking about the right to self-determination of Kashmiris,
Yes.
as promised by India in United Nations.
Yeah, yeah.
So the message of Pakistan of peace is spreading everywhere, and we are getting the results. You can see that after the special status cancellation in Kashmir
Yeah.
of post 5 August, every person, every statesman and the congressman, every country just said that India is doing wrong in Kashmir, and the message of Pakistan is have much more strength. Now at this moment, India is in defensive position.
Yeah,
and
yeah, right.
and we are, if you want to see about, and you want to see what Modi government is doing, that we just go 3 days ago there was an article by the Pamela Constable.
Okay, okay.
She is a American journalist working from many years in this region, and she said that Kashmir looks like Switzerland, but
Right.
felt like Gaza Strip.
Oh,
Exactly.
imagine how
Imagine,
unfortunate.
you just imagine that the hundreds of thousands of the people, thousands of the security personnel in the occupied forces, they are just here to just protect the people of Kashmir, but no, they are suppressing. You just imagine that the story of a little girl, Hiba. She was in his mom's lap when she got pellet gun, and she just lost his eyesight. You just imagine that the Insha Mushtaq, she was 9th class student.
Right.
She had the dream to become a doctor, but due to this suppression and these pellet guns, she just lost his eyesight. And there are more than 6,000 people, 6,000 people which lost their lives or which are affected by the pellet guns. This is not a report by Pakistani media.
Yes.
This is a report by Al Jazeera, Amnesty International, who talk about the atrocities which are done by the Indian government.
Yeah.
And one thing which I mentioned that, and you just want to salute the
Yeah.
diplomatic corps of Pakistan,
Yes.
and the leaders, the Geneva leaders, who was talking about that, the PIC and the leaders like that,
Exactly.
Right.
Wani Saab, who are fighting the case of Kashmiris in UNHRC.
Absolutely,
and
yes. Raising their voices every
millions
time.
of the dollars which are spent by the India or in wasting position.
Imagine.
So you
Exactly. Thank you very much for highlighting all of these points too as well. But since you happen to be a lobbyist for the Youth Forum in Indian occupied Kashmir, so what I would want to ask is that Altaf Sahab over here very rightly mentioned that from 2010 till 2020 we have seen that that the youngsters or the youth of Kashmir have faced a lot of problems.
Yes.
Now, if we are to do a fair analysis before the lockdown and after the lockdown, how do you think that the things have gotten worse even for the youngsters of Kashmir?
the situation is very worse. You just imagine that there is a communication lockdown, and government is saying that we have just put that lockdown. And do you know that on which price they have put that lockdown? They just allowed the persons who can use the 2G internet
That's it.
on the surety bond of their parents. If that cell phone is misused by them, when they misused in other means, they will put the parents behind the bars.
What do we mean by
And
misuse?
yeah, that is
what
what-
do we mean by
Yeah.
misuse?
They just said that if they use to just speak, to spread the message of the atrocities which are done by the Indian forces.
If they start speaking the truth.
Truth.
Yeah.
If
Then
they
they will.
start speaking the truth, that is treated as misuse. And most recently, even yesterday, a Kashmiri young man who was traveling from Srinagar to Delhi, on Srinagar airport, his cell phone was taken away by the authorities, and he was taken into custody and shifted to Humhama interrogation center because he has posted some of the pictures of Kashmir. But they don't want, as I tell earlier, they don't want to listen what is actually happening in Kashmir. That is why they put a total internet blockade in Kashmir. They put blockade on every side, and this Kashmiri media men who wanted to file their stories, they have to go a certain place, which is guarded and censored by the government officials. They don't let anything out to go. Whatever they sanction, that can go out. That's the problem. Which is
and sir, where you said they're guarded so heavily by the Indian forces over there, I think I've spoken about this before as well on the show, but to roughly put it to numbers, imagine over a group of 8 people, we are 8 people over here, one heavily armed soldier for every 8 people. Imagine living in such a place, first of all. This is just absolutely insane. It's just crazy. But Wani Sahib, when Mr. Bajwa was talking, and even Huma, they did mention the fact that, of course, this is a Modi regime that he wants to absolutely, diminish the face of Islam and Muslims from the entire India and the entire region as well. But this is backfiring. We are seeing the unrest and chaos in the country as well. Even the Shaheen Bagh protests and even, what happened in Delhi, so many different parts of India as well. Can we expect this to turn out in such a large, let's say, do you think it's going to burst so much that this will be a hit in the face of Modi?
And so very sorry, but before you answer this, I think that we actually have to go for a short break as well. So we'll move on to Laiba because we have to bid farewell to Laiba over here.
Okay.
So Laiba, it was superb to have you. And since we'll be bidding you a farewell today, so before going, if you have any message, please look into the camera, talk to all of those people who are watching you right now so that we can say goodbye to you. Please go on.
My Kashmiri brothers and sisters, we will always stand beside you now, then and forever. Your sacrifices and struggles will not go in vain. We will fight for your rights on every front till every inch of Kashmir is liberated from the cruelties of Indian occupation. We will never forget or abandon you and won't let the world leader forget about you either. Stay strong, dawn of freedom is almost upon us. I, Laiba Khan, proud daughter of Pakistan, stand with Kashmir till the end of times.
Thank you very much for such kind words, and we definitely need brave kids like you to stand up and raise awareness about people's right. Okay, thank you very much, Laiba, for being with us, and for everybody who's out there. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading out towards a short break, but once you guys will come back, obviously the conversation over is getting intense, and it's because of the fact that we really need to put the facts out as well. We will be joined by some other guests as well, and where Shiza asked whether the Modi plan work out or whether it's backfiring. I think that's the kind of discussion we would want to have after a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, and we'll always stand in solidarity with our Kashmiri brethren. Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PTV World, you watching World this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, today happens to be the 5th of February 2020, where it's the 184th day that the Indian occupied Kashmir has been under a complete lockdown without any communications with the rest of the world. And not just that, they're living their lives in distress, and there are a lot of problems which we have discussed in the previous half of the show. But before reaching out towards the break, Shiza actually had a very important question, and that was whether what Modi plan, do you think that it has backfired, or do you think that it is going to reap something out of them or not? But before we move forward with the answers from our very apt guests as well, we bid farewell to Ms. Laiba Khan, who's the youngest social activist over in Pakistan. So replacing her, ladies and gentlemen, we have an analyst who's very apt for this question as well. Yeah. He's none other than Professor Zamir Mansab as well. Sir, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Thank you very much for joining us. So, sir, you've heard the question. And Shiza, if you want to say it again, please go ahead so that everybody understands. And then we'll start with the answers.
All right, so Vani Saab and Zamir Saab, actually, I want you both to answer this. When we are looking at the nefarious designs of Modi, of course, the world is not blind to that. Everyone, including the international media, international fora, and the general public as well, are paying heed to what is happening over there. But I don't know what he planned or what he did not plan, but to what we see, it has sort of backfired in his own country in terms of the internal chaos and, civil disobedience going on. Can we expect it to grow bigger and then actually put an end to his thoughts as well?
You see, the way the Modi governed India, and he came with firstly as a development agenda in India,
Yeah.
but falsely turned
Just for
into
Gujarat, though.
Gujarat goal. But what he did in Gujarat, everybody knows. But after that, we saw the first 5 years of his rule, and then the second term of his rule, fast turning into a Hindu RSS, Hindu
Right.
agenda in India.
Yeah.
What he did in Kashmir first, he started with Kashmir by abrogating Article 370 and 35A and trying to dismantle the state and tried to integrate the state of Jammu and Kashmir in mainland India, and then issued a map asking that Azad Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan is part of that, and he will invade and they can conquer and all that, creating an egoistic hysteria
Yeah.
in this region, inviting Pakistan to be in that warfare. But thanks to the leadership of Pakistan, they responded very, they showed statesmanship
Strategically.
by not getting instigated by the Indian, such statements by the Indian leadership. What the government of India did then in India, the
Yeah.
CAA and NRC, these things have backfired
Yes.
in India. We have not seen in past such protests in India in the universities, and the whole of the universities of India,
Yeah.
starting from the Jamia, then Aligarh University, then Jawaharlal Nehru University,
Right.
and then all over the India. On the 26th, when India was celebrating its Republic Day,
Yeah.
you had 56 cities of India where we have been
Protesting.
protesting
Yes.
against the acts of the government.
Yeah.
The acts of the Indian government have polarized the Indian state.
Yeah.
India is no longer, it's not we who are saying this. We have been saying this for last 73 years, that India is not a democracy.
Right.
India is not a secular state. What we have been facing in Kashmir, what we have witnessed in India. But our brethren in India, the Muslim brethren in India, or other those minorities, they were the Indians, they would say that we are proud Indians and all that. But the acts which Modi has done now they have come to know what the people of Kashmir have faced,
Absolutely
how the
what I
people
feel
have
about
been
this.
dealing with the policies of government of India. So I think the Indian acts which they have done by snatching the people of their citizenship rights
Right.
to
Ownership
million
rights and
people,
everything.
ownership rights and all that, and by instigating the Hindu extremist groups to beat, to harass, to kill the Muslims. We have seen in last 6 years over 70 to 80
Yeah.
mob lynching incidents in India.
Exactly.
This is not an easy
Gone
thing.
unaccounted.
Gone unaccounted.
Yeah.
We have seen most recently the way the government of India, the Hindu government, has managed all the state organs, like the Supreme Court of India.
Right.
The Supreme Court of India set free all those who were involved in Gujarat massacre, all those who were involved in demolishing of Babri Masjid. They were set free, or they are now ruling the India.
Yes.
And because of that, you can see the total disenchantment in the Indian society, and in South and Northeast, people have totally disassociated themselves from what the government of India is doing.
Right.
So it has backfired, and you could not see the Western papers writing against the India before August 5th. And you can
Absolutely.
see even and we have talked a lot about the New York Times, Washington Post,
Yeah.
Wall Street Journal, and Telegraph and others, and international media outlets. They spoke against it. Even the Alaska Times, the Tel Aviv Times, they wrote against it. The Zionists also wrote against what India
Yeah.
is doing in Kashmir, what they are doing in India.
Yeah.
So I think India has earned a lot of criticism around the world.
Yes.
Indians democracy is being questioned all over the world. Indian secularism is being questioned all around the world, and Modi has earned a bad name for India all around the world, and it has backfired the Indian system.
I agree with everything that you said. And you know, the part where you mentioned that India is polarizing. Even on the Republic Day, imagine people coming out, Indian citizens coming out, not only Muslims belonging to all faiths coming out and protesting, sometimes peacefully, sometimes protests did get violent as well. That is because of, well, the rights the Indian armed forces have over there. But this one, specifically talking about Shaheen Bagh, there was recently a protest going on over there. And I love the fact how the general public is being empowered.
Exactly.
You know what was happening over there? I saw a BBC story actually. So there were a lot of women. This was specifically a women's protest. And, you know, almost 3 generations, like grandmothers, their daughters and their daughters, everyone was there, just holding Constitution in their hand, reading it out loud on the mic, turn by turn, making people understand what the real Constitution means, because whatever is happening in India in terms of CAA and NRC and even, you know, abrogating 370, this is unconstitutional.
It is.
All right, so moving on to you, sir. What do you feel like? Is it going to backfire? Do you agree with Vani Saab?
Yes, I fully endorse. In fact, I want to emphasize the most condemnable thing is this ideology.
Yeah.
The roots of this ideologies goes back to 1920s.
25.
At that time, people were thinking that it is against the colonial rule.
Yeah.
But actually, this ideology existed since 1920s.
Exactly.
That the Hindu Tawa or the RSS wanted to keep the India only for the Hindus.
Yes.
Non-Hindus should not stay in India.
Okay.
The Christians should go to Europe, and the Muslims should go back to Middle East. Or the other option they have offered, that all the non-Hindus should convert to Hinduism.
Exactly.
Imagine that.
This was the ideology. But of course, India was, this ideology existed, and they were working for a long time, but they have not succeeded. Till the last couple of decades, all the extremist organization, Hindu Tawa and many others, get together under the platform of BJP,
Yeah.
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 Bharatiya Janata Party.
Yes.
And Modi was the first prime minister elected from this extremist group RSS. During his first tenure, 2014 till 2019, he was the prime minister, but he was not enjoying the absolute majority in the parliament. So he wanted to make the legislation or implement his ideology. He failed
Yeah.
because he was not having the absolute majority. Finally, they have corrupted and politicized state institution
Right.
like education, like judiciary. Even the election commission was also politicized. As a result, in 2019 April election, BJP, RSS got the absolute majority, 2/3 majority.
Okay.
They were in a position to make the legislation whatever they want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
The first thing they strike the Indian constitution or harm the Indian constitution. That was the provocation of cancellation of the 370 and 35A.
35A.
They imposed curfew on Kashmir, deployed 900,000 troops,
Troops, yes.
and almost 8 million people are under siege for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
This is the clear or open violation of the Indian Constitution. It is the violation of the United Nations Security Council.
Right.
It is the violation of the international practices.
Yep.
Kashmir is a disputed territory between China, Pakistan and India.
Yeah.
Any unilateral action by India is illegal.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the international community should take action against it, or
Yeah.
take serious notice of it.
Right.
The other thing that the Indian Citizenship Act amended
Yes.
2019, December 11,
Yeah.
is again a violation of Indian Constitution.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Indian
And
Constitution.
Indians do realize that. The public realizes that.
Yes, Indian Constitution do not discriminate, but this amended bill is discriminatory bill marginalizing the Muslims only.
Right, absolutely.
So this is again the violation of the Constitution of India.
Thank you so much for raising this point, because this is what we need to talk about in detail as well, sir. And when you mentioned about the CAA, when you say stripped of their rights, ladies and gentlemen, it sounds really simple, right? Well, you're not an Indian anymore. Let me tell you what stripped off means. It means you do not have the right to self-determination, the right to vote, the right to ownership in terms of property or any asset over there, the right to any sort of social security. And then an Indian journalist actually said this all by himself, that this is what Modi and Amit Shah have created. And when you fall in that groups of, being stripped off, you are naturally going to be vulnerable to so many atrocities and violences we cannot even counter-mention over here.
Exactly. And adding on to that and nutshelling that as well, ladies and gentlemen, it's just like as if you're living at somebody else's place, which you cannot feel at home as well. But then at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, we have to head out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere. And because when we come back, there's one more important aspect which we want to discuss in detail. And that is that the case is actually according to the United Nations Security Council. And there are only two options, whether you opt for India or whether you opt for Pakistan. How do we work on that? Can we actually find a solution for all of those people who are in trouble? Let's talk about that. Ladies and gentlemen, talking about the atrocities, they have been never-ending as well. But other than that, this particular case, which is as per the rules of the United Nations Security Council, where the people of the Indian occupied Kashmir are only given two choices, whether to be with Pakistan or whether to be with India. I think that we have got an expert over here on law as well, and I want to pose this question to her, whether we can do it all over again, or whether this is the way where we need to go, or whether what kind of solutions can we get for people of the Indian occupied Kashmir? Ma'am, let's get started.
The first solution, I think, that is to give the right of self-determination to the Kashmiris themselves.
Yeah.
They will decide, or either through referendum or whatever, they will go with the Pakistan or they will go with the India or whatever. So the only solution is to implement the resolutions practically, and how to implement the resolutions. It is I will always say that it is not only a political case; it is also a legal case. Pakistan should engage a legal team to solve the Kashmir case and to represent the Kashmir case internationally.
But we can't even take it to ICJ. India won't come.
Yeah, but we can put our case to the ICJ. We can. There is no hurdle that we cannot take our case in the ICJ. If India can take the Kulbhushan Yadav case in the ICJ, why we are not? There is no hurdle, any kind of hurdle that we are not going to.
But we're bound to appear over there. That is why they took the Kulbhushan Yadav. But anyway, please move on. Yes.
But there, if ICJ is there, then ICJ can send notice to the India.
Okay.
Then it will also cause coercion or also a pressurization thing, pressurized to India that if he is not appearing, then the resolution passed by the UN can also be implemented by force or whatever. But when internationally other states or internationally the other countries will not engage India in their I can say settings or their internationally in the arena of trade, they they force them. So internationally, if I am talking about the trade or economical condition of the India internationally, so being a Muslim or being there is no matter of matter of a religion, that either a country is a Muslim or either is a country is non-Muslim. We have to focus that Kashmiri is also a human being.
Absolutely.
First consider them as a human. Then we will go for the either okay, Kashmiris are going for the Pakistan.
Right.
going
That's
for the
true.
India.
That's true, and we truly get that point as well. But I want to come back to Zamir Sahib over here, since you've got a good grip on the subject too as well. Now, sir, I think since we're only left with 10 minutes or so, I think we need to talk about the solutions which we might think can be helpful for the people of the Indian occupied Kashmir. Now, I've stated to you that the case is under the United Nations Security Council as well, and that's how we need to pursue it. What do you think that the governments all over need to do, or probably the Pakistani government as well, or all of those people who are allies to, or probably are speaking about the atrocities going on in the Indian occupied Kashmir? What do you think that the rest of the world needs to do for all of those people in trouble?
I think we are moving very quickly toward a solution.
Okay.
The situation inside India by Modi government is already deteriorating the India very much.
Yes.
Right.
Law and order situation is deteriorated. Indian economy is going to collapse.
Protests are going on.
Protests are going almost in 20 cities are in India. The tourists are not going to India. I mean, it is already happening harm to the India, and it will self-destruction ki taraf ja rahe hain.
Exactly.
They are moving towards self-destruction.
Yep.
What our government should do it, that we should keep on extending our moral and the political support to the cause of Kashmir.
And we will continue to do so.
And our Prime Minister has acted as the ambassador of Kashmir in the United Nations. He spoke very well.
Yes.
All of our missions abroad, we have almost 150 plus missions in the rest of the world. Our mission should be a spokesman or spokesperson for the Kashmiri cause.
Okay.
We should promote the Kashmir issue at all levels.
Okay.
And I think there is a very good awareness in the international media about the Kashmir. I think last many decades I have never heard anything about Kashmir in the mainstream international media. But recently, like Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, Fox News, BBC, everybody is talking about the Kashmir.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think the Kashmir issue is quite well aware and in the
Legit.
notice of the international community.
Yeah.
Of course, there still is space for to do little bit more. Some of the countries, they are keeping their economic interest above everything else.
Okay.
For example, in France, the government was very much pro-India, but the people of France, they are protesting in the favor of Kashmir.
Exactly.
Right.
So we have to keep on this pace, and the international community to play more active role.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for saying that. I do agree with all of that. But since we're talking about solutions, there's this one question I always wanted to discuss with people, and I actually need all sorts of perspectives and answers for this as well. In terms of solution, of course, we do look out to international organizations to intervene, right? Like, of course, United Nations. So can we expect something like the UN TAG, the Transition Assistance Group that UN created, especially in the case of Namibia, to free it of South Africa?
Exactly.
And that was successful because they held free and fair elections over there, and then it was a free country, which is now successfully democratically running. Can we or can we not expect such a thing coming from outside, this approach?
I don't think that we have that option.
No, I mean, of course, if people can resolve and come together to do this, can we expect that? Let's start with you, Mr. Bajwa, and then Mr.
First
Wani.
of all, I just want to say that he mentioned that about the people of the France. I'm just saying that it's not only this issue is on the streets of France, but first time in the Parliament of France, the
Yes.
Kashmir is discussed. And Kashmir is not more a bilateral issue.
In
It-
EU
it-
today even,
yeah,
yes.
even today. It is now an international issue. And we actually, and you can see that the to revival of Kashmir issue after 50 years on the agenda of United Nations and discussed twice in last 2 to 3
Right,
months.
months.
So it's a big achievement. Kashmir is arrived on its solution.
Yeah.
And the solution will be done very soon.
I hope
We
so.
just need to that we have to work more on the humanitarian aspects of the Kashmir. We have to put the literature, we have to work on the literature, we have to create some cultural aspects of the Kashmir, we have to create some dramas to just sensitize the civil societies within within India and the world as well, because now world is listening you. All the international humanitarian organization is talking about that. Media is talking about that. Just we have to keep this momentum.
Yeah.
And by the efforts of government of Pakistan and the just the speech of the Prime Minister Imran Khan, and he just sensitized people of the Europe that the Kashmir is doing the same the Hitler did with them
Right.
in past World War II. So by these such kind of efforts, the Kashmir solution will be there, inshallah.
Exactly.
you
Well,
so much
that's
for
great.
saying
And
that.
sir, I'm going to add on to that question too as well, that very recently there was this statement by President Trump as well, that if we are seeking for a solution for Kashmir, we should actually be in conversation with the United States of America. Now, what I want to ask is, do you think that we should actually be trusting leaders like Trump?
No.
See, this is good that Trump asked that I'm going for an
He
arbitration
wanted to
or
mediate, yeah.
mediate. That's good. He has been telling it now. It's his third, fourth time. That
Just
he
now,
has
yeah.
Yeah.
Just narrated the story again and again. But as we see the history of the relations between India and United
US,
States
yes.
right now, they are strategical partners. They are doing every sort of business, and United States has not been condemning what, though we have seen the parliamentarians in the United States, the
Congressmen.
senators, United States, senators in Europe and everywhere, in every parliament, Kashmir was discussed. But I have not seen the governments condemning the government of India.
Yeah.
So till date, I have not seen the governments condemning the acts of government of India.
Exactly.
That is how India became so arrogant, that when India got the clean chit on so much of human rights violations in Kashmir, and they snatched each and every right, and they were given a free hand. The India became arrogant. Now they have snatched the rights of the minorities in India.
Exactly.
Right.
So we should not see that somebody will come and he will, when he will negotiate or he will be arbitrator, he will do something for us. The best arbitrator is the United Nations Security Council.
Exactly.
The resolutions of the Security Council are there. As far as ICJ was talked about, there are two opinions. We can go or we cannot go.
Yeah.
There are two different opinions.
Okay.
But the thing is that, again, the root is the United Nations Security Council. They can tell the ICJ to give their opinion about the Kashmir, as it was in 1956. Pakistan proposed that, and Great Britain proposed that. We can resort to that also, that this has been the practice in past. We can do that. But having said that, currently we see the governments around the globe, they are just mute spectators, thanks to the Prime Minister of Malaysia, President of Turkey, and of course the leader of Iran, who
yes.
spoke very vocally for the rights of the people
Exactly.
of Kashmir. I extend my gratitude to them, but largely the leaders around the globe have remained silent on the issue.
Yes.
That's why we see the conflicts around the world. The Security Council has not fulfilled its responsibilities of having peace and security around the globe on equal basis. They had double standards, they have the colors inside them, and because of that we see the conflicts around the globe.
Absolutely.
And there is no justice for the oppressed people and the ones or the people of Kashmir who
Right.
have been looking to them. We are telling them that we respect your resolutions,
Exactly.
so implement them. Those promises you have made to the people of Kashmir. But at the end, I must say to the international community that people of Kashmir are time and again giving you the chance to resolve the Kashmir issue through peaceful means. Indian government is pushing the Kashmir youth towards wall, and that can result in the violence. That can result in the violence and more violence in the region. And Pakistan cannot remain a spectator in that case. And this region can be engulfed into a war, and that will be a nuclear war.
Exactly.
God forbid that.
Absolutely. And Vani Sahab, you actually pushed me to saying something that I always say, and I promised myself I won't say it this time on the show, that United Nations is a hoax. International organizations are all political. They will literally choose that these people get to live and these people get to die, and that is what is happening over here. Sorry to say that, but this is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we have another report for you about Kashmir and how we stand in solidarity with Kashmir. Let's take a look at it.
Exactly, and when you guys will come back after the report, ladies and gentlemen, we'll actually request our app guests over here to leave us with a message, and the rest of the world as well. So we'll collect their messages. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Let's see what they have to say with the sanest minds.
The people of Jammu and Kashmir have been observing 5th January 2020 as Day of Right to Self-Determination in spite of being besieged by more than 900,000 Indian armed forces, intelligence agencies and RSS hooligans. Fearing the defeat at the hands of freedom-loving Kashmiris, India rushed to United Nations in 1947. Accepting the legitimacy of Kashmir freedom struggle, United Nations Security Council passed a resolution on 5th January 1949 which states, "The question of accession of the state of Jammu and Kashmir to India or Pakistan will be decided through the democratic method of free and impartial plebiscite." All resolutions on Kashmir passed by United Nations Security Council guarantee the birthright, that is, right to self-determination for the people of Jammu and Kashmir. By observing 5th January as Day of Right to Self-Determination, Kashmiris remind United Nations of her promises regarding plebiscite. These people appeal international community to pressurize India and play a tangible role so that Kashmiris could be given their right to self-determination. Unlike East Timor and Sudan, the double standards of United Nations encouraged India to perpetrate worst kind of human rights violations and war crimes against Kashmiris. India is applying delaying tactics since 1949 regarding implementation of promises made by her to Kashmiris in United Nations Security Council. Even the promises made by first Premier of India, Jawaharlal Nehru, were not entertained.
Our pledge to the people of Kashmir, if you like, the people of this world, that this matter could be affirmed or cancelled by the people of Kashmir according to their wishes. We do not wish to win people against their will with the help of armed force, and if the people want to part company with us, they may go their own way and we shall go ours. We want no forced marriages, no forced unions.
On 5th August 2019, by abrogating Article 370 and 35A of Indian Constitution, she snatched special status of state of Jammu and Kashmir and increased number of her brutal forces to crush freedom movement of Kashmir. More than 100,000 Kashmiris have been martyred at the hands of Indian occupation forces. Thousands of women are widowed, thousands molested, thousands of youth buried in unmarked graves since 1989. Despite all these atrocities, freedom struggle of Kashmiris is in full swing, and by these huge demonstrations, they demand implementation of United Nations resolutions on Kashmir.
Jammu and Kashmir is the disputed territory, and the people of Jammu and Kashmir should be given right to self-determination so that they will decide their future, whether they want to be with India or exit to Pakistan. ये 18 करारदादें पास हो चुकी हैं और इन पर हिंदुस्तान के वीरों ने, आन जानी नारों ने दस्तखत किए हैं कि जम्मू कश्मीर के अवाम को अपना पैदाइशी और बुनियादी हक दिया जाना चाहिए। हम वही हक मांग रहे हैं। हम हिंदुस्तान से कोई उनका जायज हिस्सा उनसे अलग करने का मुतालबा नहीं कर रहे हैं।
To meet her evil designs and to change the demography of Kashmir, India is trying her best to suppress the freedom struggle of Kashmiris. Pakistan has always raised Kashmir issue at every international forum and demanded implementation of United Nations resolutions on Kashmir.
On the 5th August, when India went against United Nations Security Council resolutions, which say that Kashmir is a disputed territory and the people of Kashmir have the right of self-determination. Illegally, they revoked Article 370, which gave Kashmir the special status. And they put 8 million people of Kashmir under curfew. The way they have been boxed in their houses, treated like worse than animals, no rights. 100,000 Kashmiris have died in the past 30 years because they were denied the right given by the United Nations, the right for self-determination. And 11,000 women have been raped. There are 2 United Nations human rights reports on this.
Supporting the genuine demand of right to self-determination of Kashmiris, the Prime Minister of Turkey, Tayyip Erdogan, said,
"One of the problems to which the international community fails to devote enough attention is the Kashmiri conflict, awaiting a solution for 72 years. The stability and prosperity of South Asia cannot be separated from the Kashmiri issue. Despite the resolutions adopted by the United Nations Security Council, Kashmir is still besieged and 8 million people are still stuck in Kashmir. They cannot get out. In order for the Kashmiri people to look towards a safe future with their Pakistani and Indian neighbors, it is imperative to solve this problem through dialogue on the basis of justice and equality instead of conflict."
Mahathir Mohamad, Prime Minister of Malaysia, condemned illegal Indian occupation and demanded implementation of United Nations resolutions on Kashmir.
Now, despite UN resolution on Jammu and Kashmir, the country has been invaded and occupied. There may be reasons for this action, but it is still wrong. The problem must be solved by peaceful means. India should work with Pakistan to resolve this problem. Ignoring the UN would lead to other forms of disregard for the United Nations and the rule of law.
Indian Parliament passed Citizenship Amendment Act to materialize her evil plan of settling Hindus in Kashmir. This act also resulted in huge demonstrations and protests throughout India against Modi regime. Frustrated by this unexpected resentment by Indian citizens, Narendra Modi threatens to attack on Azad Kashmir so to divert the attention of world community from this gruesome situation. Kashmir is the oldest unresolved issue on United Nations agenda. It needs to be addressed. India could not stop Kashmiris from achieving their goal, and any misadventure of Modi's regime could jeopardize the global peace. International community must take cognizance of this worsening situation and play its role for resolving lingering issue of Kashmir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that was a small report so that we make sure that you guys kind of take away all of the information we wanted to share with the rest of the world. And in all honesty, we know that for sure that everything that we have shared with you guys is just as true as it looks as well and as it sounds as well. But Zamir Wansab, we'll start with you, sir. Just look into the camera and whatever message you have for the rest of the world, for the people of Indian occupied Kashmir and for all of us, please go ahead, share your thoughts.
I want to express my feelings. For the last more than 7 decades, India used all tactics, including the excessive use of force, to suppress the Kashmiri movement for self-determination, and they failed. I believe that India should understand it very well, they will never ever succeed. They should leave India, Kashmir. The sooner is the better.
Thank you very much, sir, for saying that as well. Ms. Huma, whatever you have to say, please go ahead.
It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter who you are, but it matters when you remain silent. Please raise voice for the Kashmir, for your brothers, for your sisters who are residing there and facing the brutalities of the India. So raise your voice for the Kashmir, and it matters a lot for them. They need their moral support also, and they need their your voice, your the pitch of your voice, enhance their tempo, their courage to raise their voice also.
Exactly, and that's great, and I think that it's a brilliant message, ladies and gentlemen, and that's particularly what we are doing today, and we'll continue to do it 365 days throughout a year till the rest of my life, till the time we see that the Kashmiris have their rights to self-determination as well. Bajwa Sahab, please, whatever you have to say.
My message is to the people of India, is that we are your neighbors and we want peace, and please, and we want to live like a good neighbors. Please resolve this issue, force your government to resolve Kashmir dispute, and my message to the people of Kashmir is that Pakistan was with you, Pakistan is with you, and we will remain with you until this you got your right to self-determination.
Exactly. Thank you very much, sir. Altaf sir, very quickly.
My message to the international community. Look, people of Kashmir have been waiting for their right to self-determination for last 73 years, as promised not less than United Nations Security Council. Now it's responsibility of Security Council to resolve the Kashmir issue, as Kashmiris have seen lot of destruction and bloodshed in past 73 years. So promote your freedom to protect our freedom. Thank you very much.
Brilliant, sir. Thank you very much for saying that. And ladies and gentlemen, before all of this conversation, you know, when I was in conversation with Mr. Zaman Bajwa over here today, he said that the media needs to play a very important role to sensitize and to let people know what is actually happening. And such is an example of all of those patriotic prayers that we have made as well. But then at the same time, we've got something very interesting to share with you. Please take a listen. And when you guys will come back, we'll actually let you know that, you know, these were the elderly, sanest minds over here in Pakistan who actually stand in solidarity with Kashmir. But it's not just the elderly, it's the younger ones as well. We have a group of children from City School who've actually prepared a prayer for the people of Indian occupied Kashmir as well. Plus, go ahead, take a listen to this one, and when you guys will come back, we'll definitely introduce all of those amazing angels who will be over here in the studios. But thank you very much, gentlemen and ladies as well, for joining us on this day, and we will continue to strive and we will continue to ask for their right to self-determination.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything you want to say?
Yes, absolutely. And the sole purpose, ladies and gentlemen, for sharing this patriotic and national song with you is to lift the spirits of everyone who is supporting the cause of Kashmir. Because, Shahzad, it's really unfortunate that talking about January alone, just this January that just passed, 19 people were, you know, martyred by Indian armed forces, innocent people, including children. So this one is for everyone out there. Transmission of World this morning, ladies and gentlemen, on the 5th of February, where we, Shahzad Khan, myself, my entire team, every single Pakistani is standing in solidarity with our Kashmiri brethren.
And ladies and gentlemen, continuing with the show and the transmission as well, as I said very early in the program as well, in the previous half, that it's not just the wise and the sane and the elderly people who stand in solidarity. Pakistan ka bacha actually stands in solidarity with the Kashmiri, Indian occupied Kashmiri people as well. And ladies and gentlemen, these amazing children whom we are actually going to introduce to you have actually prepared a prayer for the people of Indian occupied Kashmir, which
it's
we
so
thought
heartfelt.
that we need to share with everybody else as well. And you know, when a kid actually raises his or her hands and ask from Allah, I don't think that Allah is actually going to refuse. And this is how we are, this is how we're going to be. And ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we have these amazing children in front of us, pretty looking faces, cute faces over here in the studios. Hello, Assalamu Alaikum kids.
Walaikum Assalam.
Thank you very much for joining us. And yes, I have heard the song or the prayer which you've prepared for us. before, but we're definitely going to share it with other people as well. But before we do that, each and every one of you knows that it's that we stand in solidarity with Kashmir on the 5th of February, and not just that, but we continue to do so every single day. What is your message? What is the message you guys have prepared for the rest of the world? Please go ahead and share it with the world. Do you have to say anything? Please, I'll start with you.
I think that we sang this song for all our Kashmiri brothers and sisters, that we are with them and we're going to stand with them forever. And there's the Indian that are retiring. We want to show that we are Pakistanis. We could take Kashmiris with us, and that's why we wrote this song.
That's brilliant. What's your name?
Okay,
Tuba, that was very brilliant of you, that you actually realize why we are standing in solidarity.
Yeah. And do you have to say something as well?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
What do you
go
want to say?
This song is about Kashmir's children are weeping because their mother and sister and brothers and fathers are dying.
Yes, I
Yes,
know.
that's true.
And do you want to say something as well?
Me?
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our Kashmiri brothers and sisters are our brothers and sisters. We have to stand for Kashmiris. Indians have captured Kashmir, and their mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters are also dying, and they're packed in their houses.
Exactly. So, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that each and every child over here in Pakistan knows what's actually happening with people in the Indian occupied Kashmir. And imagine that if a 9-year-old kid is saying that the mother and the father is dying, the kind of trauma they might feel over here as well, and the kids over there in the Indian occupied Kashmir, what they might go through. So I think that very quickly we really need to move on towards this song, which they have actually prepared for all of us. Shiza, if you have to say anything, please.
No, Shahzad, I was actually just realizing, how they mentioned what is happening to the Kashmiri children over there. For them to realize, of course, it is traumatic, yes. But then, actually, if you have to realize that you have to make kids of age 9 or even younger than that acquainted with the concept of death and lockdown and atrocities, how traumatic is that for them to feel it? I just can't even imagine.
And then at the same time, imagine when they're going to grow up, the kind of thought processes they might have to go through, that all of that depression we talk about, all of that anxiety we talk about, it's going to come and chase. But ladies and gentlemen, we are people who are actually enriched with the spirit but when we try put it into words, I think it's a little difficult, but we have this faith within our own selves as well. We have faith in our Allah, and I think that everybody's going to be fine, inshallah, very soon. This is what our guest said as well, and this is what we pray for. So please make sure that you write to us on our pages as well, which is with the name of World This Morning without a G on Twitter, on Daily Motion YouTube, it's World This Morning. And ladies and gentlemen, here's a prayer all the way from all of these beautiful kids. Let's do it. So, shall we? All right. Let's do it.
Kashmir
Thank you very much. And it was wonderful. And ladies and gentlemen, there's an emotional rush of feelings. And I guess it gets very hard at times to speak about all of these atrocities and what people are going through. And I think that it's going to be a joint effort. And we will never bow down. That's the kind of spirit we have. And for all of those people within the Indian occupied Kashmir, if you're watching this, we are always there with you.
Always. And this is never going to stop until the day that you at least get your right to self-determination. Of course, Kashmir has the full right to choose, Shahzad, whether they want to be with Pakistan or India or want to be on their own an independent state as well. And this is what we all today pray for. This is what we're all vying for as well. And ladies and gentlemen, throughout this day, please remember Kashmiris in your prayers. Please remember that they as well are human beings as much as you are. And everyone out there in the world actually has the same right to their life, to choose whatever they want to do with their life as anyone else does.
Please make sure that you do whatever is in your capacity, and we're going to do whatever is in our capacity as well to get them their right to self-determination. Look after yourselves. Bye. Thank you very much.